Hey, this is Sports with Rick with Coach Hall. And just so you know, the Pro Bowl was this week. They stopped playing pads for Pro Bowls now for a couple of years. So, therefore, I have no idea who won that game, what the situation was, or anything, because I had zero interest in watching professional guys run around playing flag football. You're not going to play tackle football the way that you earn your way there, then I don't want to see it. They need to consider what they want to do with that game. I know it's popular with the kids and all, but maybe it's a good idea, but I don't know. I don't even want to even consider the fact about the flag football game because I know that's the way that football as a whole is heading. And I don't think that's a good thing. Anyway, glad to be back with you guys on this cold Florida morning. Last couple of days has been, 25 degrees, which is awfully cold for us. I know you guys up in Chicago or wherever else you are, you're laughing at us. But normally 45 degrees can be rough down here if the wind hit you right. But 25 degrees, it's kind of rough. But here's the deal. There's not very much wind. So as long as the wind is not kicking up, then we can handle it. Plus by noon, it'll be about 60 degrees any damn way. So what difference does it make? I want to come on and talk about the approach to Super Bowl 60. A lot to talk about there and a whole lot of time left to talk about it. But also I want to talk about the Paul George suspension. JC, what's going on, man? Paul George got kicked out for 25 games, and he's going to lose about $12 million because he got popped on a drug test, not for performing enhancing drugs, but for some kind of medication that's supposed to be helping his mental health. Well, evidently George didn't check with the team before he decided to take this drug. Normally what you should do is just go talk to your team trainer and make sure there's nothing in that particular product that would get you suspended, especially when you start talking about the money he's going to lose, $25 million. That's an awful lot of money. And you know the NBA money is a whole lot different from NFL money, so I guess he can handle it. But shit, 12 million is 12 million. I don't care how much money somebody else is making. But yeah, they're gonna throw him out for 25 games, and the NBA has no leeway whatsoever. If you violate, you violate. You don't give a damn about your mental health or any of those things. But then again, is that really the case? Because you know now people come up with these catchphrases to get out of a certain situation, and using the word mental health could probably get you out of most situations. So other players are going to be sitting around watching this. If he appeals this and get it overturned, then mental health is going to be the new order of the day. Man, I did it for my mental health, man. Give me a break. That's where it's going. All right, JC, yeah, it's 25 in Florida, man. It's 20 here in Michigan, but that's normal. Yeah. So it kind of like blows the idea of global warming out of the window, but this is not unusual for us. We'll get a couple snaps of cold here and there. Might go through a whole winter where it may not drop below 45. But the beautiful thing about it is it warms up pretty quick. So if you don't have to be out there in it, it don't really bother you a whole lot. And like I say, if the wind's not blowing, it don't bother me at all. But what I am thankful for, though, JC, as you know, baseball season starts preseason games this week. I don't have any. So I don't have to be out there when it's 25 degrees at night for a game that don't even count. So I didn't get a chance to get any this year, but I actually start next week when the temperature should be a lot warmer. So I'm thankful for that. But I'm not going to anybody's game. I'm not sitting in the cold for anything. You know, you can give me some tickets to a Super Bowl, but if they had it in Chicago and the temperature is going to be negative 10 degrees before you start talking about the wind, I'm not going. I don't give a damn if it's the Super Bowl or not. I'm not sitting out there in that cold. Maybe as a younger fella, but now, oh no, I can't do it, man. But I asked the question, you guys think that Paul George should be suspended because he used mental health as the reason why he was taking this particular drug? And most of you say that you don't agree with this suspension. Well, I don't know, man. I'll put it to you like this. If it's a legitimate mental health concern, the league should have some kind of leeway to allow players to do such things. But I also think that it's something that should be cleared ahead of time so it won't be any surprises. So um, the bottom line is these players are responsible for what they put in their bodies, and he didn't take care of that, and that's on him. What's up, Selmo? I see you guys got a new coach now. Um, I'm not too thrilled about it. I don't know if he's going to be a good head coach or not, but then again, he might be. We'll see. But I tell you this about those coaching searches, and anytime you go for a job, you got a pile of applications, and you flip through those applications, and you pick out the ones you like for whatever reasons you like. Next guy is doing the same thing, but somebody in every job pile of applicants, the right person is in that job pile to do everything to get that organization to the top. Not what you did before. The right fit for that job is in that pile. The question is, can you choose the right person? Most of the time, people cannot. You hire a guy like Mike Tomlin. Nobody knew where Tomlin came from. Look at the career Tomlin had. Now, could he have done better? Yeah, he could have done better, but nobody expected him to even be at the top of the list. He shot to the top of the list because he interviewed so well. Some people can interview well, then transfer that to the job. Then you have some people that interview well and can't do the job. So the right person for that job is in the pile. Can you select that person is the question. All right. JC says NBA should have George see their doctor and get evaluated and see where his head is. Yeah, but the NBA's got to save face now. You already said kick you out for 25 games. He's going to have to go through the players union and all that to try to get reinstated. And I think that might be something he needs to do because $25 million $12 million is a whole lot of money to lose, man. And I don't care how long you've been in the league and the way these guys spend money. You got to hurry up and get that money back. It's going to hurt him. So, but the league, they can't backtrack on what they said because they got to have credibility too. He's going to have to go through the proper channels, which includes going through the union to try to get that reinstated and recoup some of his money. That's the only thing at this point that can be done. But I think at this time of the year, though, 25 games, that should push them somewhere around the end of the regular season. And I think that if they can keep Embiid healthy, then the Sixers should still get to the playoffs. And if George can come back for that playoff run, it'll be fresh. Might even be to the benefit of Philadelphia to have him sit out like that. We'll see. All right, Monken is football royalty. His cousin Jeff is head coach for Army. Well, royalty or not, if he don't win some games in Cleveland, they're going to run him out of town too. But if he's so much royalty, why can't he keep that Baltimore offense humming on a consistent basis? I got questions about the way Baltimore was running that team. He didn't have a consistent attack. I know every opponent is different. You want to attack them in a certain way, but there's certain things that you have to do to maintain your identity. There'll be games where you give it to Henry, and then there'll be games, 3-4 stretches where you didn't touch the ball. The most dangerous offensive weapon, I think, on Baltimore is not Henry or receiver. It's Isaiah Likely. And at the end of the season, they weren't even using him. So this is the same guy that's going to go take over the Browns with the offensive issues they had. What are you going to do about your quarterback situation? I still think Deshaun Watson is a better player at quarterback in that room. Are you going to keep him or are you going to try to get rid of him? I mean, you got to try to get some kind of get something back from him because he's getting all this money and he didn't really produce. He hadn't been on the field. Well, let's see what we can get out of him. And that's the question that Monken is going to have to answer. Is he going to install Sanders in and say, you're my guy? What's he going to do? Is he going to get rid of all of them and come up with another quarterback? I don't know what Monken's going to do. But I'm hearing swirling talk that Baltimore might be willing to deal Lamar Jackson. So who's to say what's going to happen in the NFL? And I think Monken, he's got a tough job. and he can do it. He's been around long enough. So let's see what he does. All right. Sam will say, we know you're a McCarthy guy. I'm not a McCarthy guy. I'm a Steelers guy. So McCarthy can come and go. As far as I know, McCarthy is the guy that beat us in Super Bowl 45. So he doesn't endear too well to me unless he comes in and does well. Now, I think he's a good coach. He'll win. It may not be a flashy and a young and up and coming coach like everybody wanted to see, but he could be very productive. And all they really want to do is win. And anybody that's new right now besides Tomlin would be a breath of fresh air. Not that Tomlin was bad, it's just that he'd been around so long. And I think that McCarthy is not the long-term answer, and I think they knew that coming in. He's just there to steady the ship and turn it around in a different direction to get it going for the next guy they hired. It's probably going to be the next one to stay there 15, 16 years. That's just the way Pittsburgh likes to do things. But before I get off, I just want to say, pay tribute to DeMond Wilson. That's the guy that played the role of Lamont Sanford on Sanford and Son. He passed on Friday, and he had cancer. I got this weird sort of, I don't know what you call it, but I started thinking about people and start checking up on them, see what they're up to. And not long after that, they'll die. And same kind of thing happened with this guy. I've seen a couple of interviews out there because it's rare. He had these rare interviews because he went into the ministry in the mid 80s, in the early 80s. And that's why you didn't see very much from him on the TV or movie side. But he did a lot of good work over the years. And he made a lot of interesting statements concerning Hollywood and the things that's been going on lately. But he made a lot of sense when he talked. He wasn't picking sides. He wasn't being emotional or anything like that. He was just telling you how it is. You asked him a question, he gave you the answer. And normally you don't get those kind of responses from people in the industry, any kind of industry like that, because they're so fearful of what may become of them in their career. Well, he was beyond all of that. And he told you honestly about the way things were. So all the stuff that you see on TV that these actors and people be going through, none of that is new. It's been going on forever. And there are people behind the scenes that control a lot of things. And if you get out of line, they'll find a way to get rid of you one way or the other. And they have shaming rituals and all these different kind of things that go on. And nothing that you haven't heard before. And it's real, pretty much what he was saying. But Sanford and Son itself, the show, I hadn't seen anything better than Sanford and Son. And that show came out over 50 years ago. And I hadn't seen very many sitcoms that can beat that. And it's popular all over the world. And because it's popular all over the world, those actors get typecast, which a lot of them don't really want to do because when shows get popular, people think you are that character. And it hangs on you. And it hung on him. And he wasn't too particular about it. But it was a great guy. And farewell and happy trails to the veteran, DeMond Wilson. And by veteran, I mean he also went to Vietnam. So well traveled. Great show. And happy trails to DeMond Wilson. All right. Okay, well, Legion of Steel, what's going on? Mike will develop Will Howard, hopefully. Well, you would think he's not a bad quarterback, Howard. And if he pans out well enough, then you don't have to go waste another draft pick on a quarterback. So hopefully he will develop Howard so we have a quarterback to build around. Because, as the league's going right now, it's all about these young players. Drake May got the Patriots to the Super Bowl. And what Bo Nix is doing out there in Denver. So we need to get our own young quarterback. I thought that Aaron Rodgers would get us over the hump. I felt like if Pittsburgh could have protected him, then we could have done some damage. They beat New England early in the year, so it's not like they're overwhelming force in the AFC. Pittsburgh is still right there. It's just a few pieces here and a few pieces there, and it'll be all right. But we're going to develop Howard. McCarthy is going to get a few pieces. Already started to put his staff together, and I think Pittsburgh is going to be all right there. Carson Beck played for Moncton in college. I would like to see them cross paths in the NFL. I don't think Carson Beck is that great of a pro quarterback. I don't even know if he wants to play pro quarterback. He went to college and made $4 million for the Hurricanes last year. So you don't give a damn if he make the pros or not. He's straight. I used to watch old Fred Sanford with my papa. Yeah, I know the lines. A lot of those shows. I know a lot of these people talking about they're aficionados and historians. No, I watch those shows so much that I know the lines. I got the timing down. I know all of these things, and I don't even watch it. It's just that I knew it from a kid because it came on. I know all these episodes, and the first two seasons. Oh man, you'll never be able to beat that. Watch the first two seasons if you don't watch anything else. JC said it was a good old show. Could have beat the Seahawks too if Caleb Johnson didn't muff that kickoff. Well, perhaps. But I think that Pittsburgh, they where they should be right now because they aren't hitting on all cylinders. Now, I would rather Pittsburgh not make the Super Bowl and get into a position where they would embarrass themselves. I felt that way, what's that, about 10 years ago when the Falcons were hitting on all cylinders and just tearing people up. We played New England in the conference championship game and lost that. I was actually glad they lost because I knew that Pittsburgh couldn't defend the Falcons and New England couldn't defend them either. The only reason Atlanta lost that game was because Shanahan pulled it off the gas and they couldn't turn it back on. He's not a finisher. He's a guy that come in, throw a few flurries, and he'll stand back and see if you're going to fall. If you don't fall, then he got a problem because you can body blow him to death then. That's what the Patriots did. They body blowed him and came all the way back and stole the game. But clearly, the Falcons were the best team that year. And Pittsburgh had no prayer of trying to defense that passing offense when Matt Ryan was hot the way he was. It's just that it wasn't meant for him that year because Shanahan, he didn't know how to seal a lead. And then I tell you something else about that particular Super Bowl. I was sitting next to a guy named Mr. Boyd. When they went up by 28 points and they went to kick off, I turned to the man and said, look here, would you onside kick in this situation? He said, no, I'll go ahead and play it straight up. Me, I would have considered onside kick because New England never would have expected that. And if they had got that, they'd have blown New England out of the stadium. But they decided to play it straight up. They kicked it off, and you know what happened next. But me, I would have onside kicked, and Falcons would be Super Bowl champions today. All right, I feel like we will still have a chance at the AFC next year if Will Howard plays halfway decent. Well, I don't know if they're going to go back with Will Howard. You know, Aaron Rodgers got a history with Mike McCarthy. He may come back another year. They're still talking about that. The likelihood, I don't know. But I just don't think that even if Howard, he may not get the call to start the season next year, even if nobody's in front of him. King, that was a damn touchdown Heath Miller caught. So I'm still mad about that. Yeah. But again, sometimes it's just not your time, you know, and because of that, I think that you lose certain games that you're supposed to win, that you think you should win, or in hindsight, you probably could have won, but it just wasn't meant for you. And because of that, I think that Pittsburgh is right where they're supposed to be. But next year, we're going to come back firing. Hopefully, Howard gets better, and we'll have something for the future. All right, now, what are you guys going to do for the Super Bowl? What I'm considering is going live from like 4 o'clock that afternoon all the way through the game, and just have dialogue and put the number up where you guys can call in and express your thoughts. What do you think about that, JC and Legion of Steel? Would you guys be interested in going back and forth during the game? in real time, or you just want to talk about it the next day. I hadn't decided on what I want to do with that. But let me know what you think about that. Um, but let me check the results of this poll. I asked you guys, do you think that Paul George should? Do you agree with his suspension? And most of you are saying yes. I kind of agree with it for the most part, but I think there should be some kind of leeway for certain things. But at the same time, I have to say that George is responsible for getting that stuff cleared before taking it. So that puts me on agreeing with the suspension side more so than not. But there has to be some kind of leeway for certain things. But the NBA, once they made that decision to suspend him, then they have to stick with it. And it's up to George to go through the proper channels because it don't make them look very good if they reverse it now. All right, just bought me a Pat Fryermuth jersey. He's my favorite Steeler right now, and for the Super Bowl, I'll be working night shift. Yeah, I would definitely call in, man, if you do it. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's mark that down. So I go live from like 4 o'clock to the build up of the game, and I got this thing where we can go live together, where you can just hit that number and you just pop right up, and we can start rapping some football, man. And so let's just mark that down for Sunday at 4 o'clock, and I'll advertise that, and we'll go from there. But I'm anticipating not so great of a game. I think New England will come up with Vrabel will come up with a game plan to keep them close. But by the middle of the third quarter, if they hadn't done so already, I suspect Seattle to start pulling away because their offense is just a little more peppier than what New England has. And nobody's open. You're going to expect Drake May to take off. And I can see that on film, and I can come up with a game plan to slow that down. He's going to have to beat Seattle down the field. And in order to do that, he's got to stand in there. That allows those defensive linemen to get home. So it's going to be very important to see how that goes. But at the same time, he's a person just like everyone else. Not saying he shouldn't be suspended, but he's a human too. I don't know if he's on drugs. I just think he's not on performance enhancing drugs, and that's the real thing that shoots your reputation down. But if he's on some kind of mental health, as he says, then that needs to be looked at closer by the league. But all these drugs have some kind of substance in there that makes it illegal. And he should have checked on that before he took a chance on getting suspended, especially with the kind of money he has on the line to lose. So we'll see how that goes with him. But anyway, I got to get up out of here, man. We'll put together a better plan or see how it goes for this Sunday game, and we can talk about all kind of stuff, man. But meanwhile, we'll go wrap up in this 25 degrees. I don't have to go outside until it gets warmed up, so I'm good with that. But overall, I'm excited about the year 2026. Off to a decent start, and it's only going to get better for here. And I actually got a good team this year, so I expect to win some games, a lot of games, and I'm looking forward to that. Get back is a great thing. So JC, Legion of Steel, sell more. Anybody else is brand new? Appreciate you chiming in. One last look at the poll. Most of you don't agree with Paul George's suspension, and it's questionable at best. And we can talk about that more at a later date. But I got to get up out of here, man. You guys have a great day, and I'll try to put up some more basketball highlights for you sometime today. Got some interesting ones. Got a buzzer beater again, and buzzer beaters are always fun, especially when the crowd rushes the floor. But I get that up sometime today. In the meantime, you guys have a great day. I got to get up out of here, man. Again, Sanford and Son. There's no better TV program I've seen than Sanford and Son. And if you take Sanford and Son now and you raise some of the names that they talked about then, some of the same issues that they talked about then are relevant now, and that's